That's a really, really simple way to do it. There's a good one.
Another good crappie.
This is just old-fashioned crappie fishing right here. Nice one.
Right there, that's what we want to see.
So here we are, we're just kind of idling around looking, and I'm graphing, and we just came up, and you can see the depth shading, we just came up off this drop. There's a lot of bait or fish or something right on that break. You can see it on the side imaging. I'm guessing it's maybe shad. You can see, wow, there's a ton. But on the clear view, you can see it real clear. So, but that's definitely worth dropping a bait down on just to see what could possibly be there. So here's something you don't use nearly as much with anchor lock and GPS, but it's a good reference point. A marker buoy is a great way to put it out there so you use it as a reference point. You don't ever want to throw it right on your fish, but you throw it off to the side, and then you have a lot better reference point to keep yourself right in the key spot with the fish. There's a lot of different ways to catch crappie, but the most important is being in the right spot. So basically what we're doing is kind of a 1-2 punch here. I've got the old school minnow on here. I love to fish with minnows. Got a little gold Aberdeen hook here. A couple split shot about 8 inches up from it. I've got my minnow here. Got my little eagle claw gold Aberdeen hook. Take the minnow and hook them through the bottom lips and come up the top lips. It's a really good way to keep them alive. Fish typically eat their prey head first, so guess what they're gonna eat first? Crappie, their eyes are on top of their head. Crappie will look up and go after bait, but they won't go down to go after bait. So you're better off to be a little bit shallow on crappie than you are to be a little bit deep on crappie. So you can see them there all underneath us here. I saw them on the Panoptics, and now we're over the top of them with the, I can see them with the sonar, and I see where my marker buoy is. And the whole key with crappie is just figuring out the depth. Not a big one, but so here I've got 2 rods here. I've actually got a little jig head. I could put a little crappie tube on it, or I've just got a minnow on there right now.
Just like that.
The other one, I've got the gold hook with the split shot with minnows.
There we go. Another just decent crappie.
So as you can see, I'm using that as a reference point, so I know every time I get just downwind from it, I get a crappie. And it's a great way to use it as a reference point, and once you get it dialed in, I know every time I get downwind to that marker buoy, I'm getting a bite. Here's a good one here. This is the crappie. Oh yeah. There's a good one. Oh, I had one on this one too. So I love to fish with 2 rods until you find the sweet spot. Then it gets tough, but it's a beautiful crappie right there. Probably about 11-inch crappie. Great eating.
There we go. Another good crappie. Skinny though.
I can see on the live scope or the Panoptics, we're about to get over the top of them about right here. So we should get bit. Not a big one, but a keeper size. Get nice little fillets off of those. So we've made kind of a couple loops around the sweet spot. Every time we get just downwind of our marker buoy, that's where we're getting bit. So even if you troll around for a little bit and kind of find the sweet spot, then it might be a good thing to do an anchor lock on a trolling motor, or if you don't have an anchor, use an old-fashioned anchor and anchor here, and this will be the spot to be. Get the anchor out here and get far enough back. You have to get the angle right just so it'll go down into the mud. How about that? We idled around with the big motor, used the Garmin electronics, found the brush piles, marked them on the GPS, and then what I did is I just got out with the trolling motor and just started kind of trolling and fishing around. Once we found the fish, I love to throw a marker buoy out for a visual. So we threw the marker buoy out, and then, you know, as we made a couple more passes through here, found out that every time we got downwind of our marker buoy, we were in the fish. So we've caught a handful. now as you see, I put an anchor out, or if you have anchor lock or spot lock for a trolling motor, you can do that, but you don't have to have it. You can use an old-fashioned anchor just like we are. We got the anchor out, and as you can see, now we have the boat almost positioned perfectly to where now we can do all kinds of different techniques to catch the fish. So here's what we've got. This is actually the same setup I bass fish with. This is a KastKing Speed Demon Pro finesse tube rod. It's a 6'10". It's a light action, what we would call a bass rod, but it's great for crappie too. I've got a 3000 series Speed Demon Pro spinning reel here, and we've got it with I think this is 10-pound braid, and we've got a little fluorocarbon leader here, but this is just old-fashioned crappie fishing right here. I've got a eagle claw gold Aberdeen hook there. I hooked the minnow through the mouth, and then about 8 inches up I put a couple probably a 1/16 and an 1/8 ounce split shot on there just to give it a little bit of weight. And right now we are in about 16 foot of water, but we're not fishing on the bottom. The crappie are suspended off the bottom. I can see them. They're about 12 foot down. So what I'm doing is I'm setting my minnow about 8 or 10 foot down. So what I do is I set that and I kind of raise it like if I was in a room up to the ceiling. And then all I'm doing is I hang that thing off the side and I watch my rod tip. The fish will tell me when they bite. See, the fish has already got it. I saw that small movement, so I just give it not a big hard jerk like I'm flipping, but just a nice steady pull, and as you can see, hook that fish right in the bottom of the mouth. But here's something to remember about crappie. Their mouths are paper thin, so they tear real easy when you hook them. Their mouths are very, very paper thin, so that's why you don't need to typically set the hook really hard. I mean, it's just super, super thin. But that minnow, I can catch another fish with him. What I like to do is I typically like to set this rod off the side and then use a jig that I can kind of kill two birds with one stone. I can work a jig, I can cast it around and kind of look for fish that are, not right around, right under the boat. And this way I'm catching the ones that are under the boat, but also I'm catching the fish that are maybe out away from the boat as well.
That's a good crappie. On the jig right there.
Another nice crappie. Don't throw my minnow off. Another one. So the other thing that's neat about crappie fishing too, if you have kids that don't get to catch a lot of fish, a lot of times you can get them on the line and then let them reel them in. Mason, do you want me to let you reel some in? What is this one? Another, good crappie. Look at that one. Nice one. So, when you really get into catch them too, if you bring your children along and they can't catch much, you can, get one and hand them the rod and let them reel it in, like I'm going to do with my son here.
I'm catching my own, thank you very much. Right there, that's what we want to see.
So there you have it. I mean, very, very simple. Once you get positioned, that's a really, really simple way to do it. Just hang it off the side, let the live minnow do the work, and the fish will come and find it.